All right, welcome back, everybody. This evening, we're going to be talking with Rebecca Bammert. I first met Rebecca at the Empire State Con. I believe it was 2019, and since then, I've kind of kept touch with her. And she has a new volume of her book, "Lonely Girl," coming out. So I figured it'd be a perfect time to bring her on and talk to her again. So let me just bring her in, and we'll get started. Hi, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, yeah, hanging in there. How about yourself?
Well, the world is really different. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm a social worker, so um, that's been pretty busy. You know, giving people food, stuff like that.
yeah. Oh no, it's definitely something. Something that is very important right now. So, like I said, I think the first. I think we met at the Empire Con that back in 2019. That sound about right to you? And
Yeah.
okay, so and I was trying to rewatch our interview back then, but I couldn't get it to load. So how did you get into comic books and writing your own stuff and all that? Drawing and all that.
Well, actually, it's kind of a personal story. I used to sing, and when my mom passed away, I had a really hard time dealing with the with singing because music was our thing together.
Hmm.
So a friend of mine said, what you should do is you should draw a comic. And I was like, really? I'm not an artist. And she said, no, because she always saw these little doodles I would do. She's like, you should, take your feelings and make art with them and make this
Yeah.
comic. So I was just doodling one night and I drew the character of Lonely Girl. And I said, this is her. This is who the comic's going to be. It's going to be my like inner child and her
Yeah.
adventures with her friends.
So tell us a little bit about if you could expand more on what the story is about and who the characters are.
Yeah. So Lonely Girl is about a group of misfits. So there's a goth girl, um, a kind of like strong, brave girl who doesn't have family. So she lives with an aunt who lives next to Lonely Girl, and a math genius who tends to not fit in that well, and a one eyed talking grumpy cat who are all friends, and they kind of like go through different experiences. So there's stories on what to do if you're a teen and you're feeling depressed
Hmm.
or lonely. Um, the new book covers how sometimes your friends are different than you, and that's okay. You don't have to necessarily find your group. You can be friends with anybody. So I kind of focused on that. I focus on what to do if you like somebody and they don't like you, like just everyday teenage stuff that kids still deal with, that they're always going to deal with, but in like a positive, lighthearted kind of way.
So you the third volume just came out, correct?
Right.
And so the first one was kind of like the introduction. What was the second one? Just so we.
Yeah. So the second one has one of my favorite issues in it. It's called Everybody Hurts. And Everybody Hurts takes all the main characters and tells something that bothers them. So, for example, Brian, who's our math genius, um, he has an older brother that he feels he lives in his shadow.
Mhm.
So we have the popular character Adam. His parents are getting divorced and what that kind of means for him. And we even see one of the bullies, who I call the bullies trolls, because, internet trolling or whatever. So I draw them like trolls. Um, and how she struggles with depression, so that all people have problems. And we'll even talk about grief and feeling isolated as a teen if you've experienced grief. Um, and so that's one of my favorite issues because it really just touches on a lot of different things and really focuses on your friends and your family are there for you to help you.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. So I think it kind of just what my memory was just jogged. I think when I talked to you back at the Empire Con, what I kind of what caught my attention was the one-eyed cat, because we had a one-eyed dog. Unfortunately, he passed. He was only 2.5 years old when he passed. But is the cat, one of your pets, or?
Yes, Luna's actually downstairs sleeping. I was trying to get her upstairs by shaking the treats, but she's actually this. A friend of mine made this necklace. It's a one-eyed cat. It's handcrafted. It's really nice in memory. Like in honor of Luna, I guess. Because Luna is everyone loves her. She's very famous. So I had started drawing her for the comic because she had to have her eye removed because she had cancer. And I was trying to therapeutically get kind of used to the fact that she would only have the one eye. And I realized that I loved her regardless. I didn't care, and how that would be a cool way to put into the story that kids that are different can still feel really comfortable in their own skin by having this character, this cat, who's got a different kind of problem than most cats, but is still loved and adored by everyone.
So if your cat is anything like our dog was, it definitely doesn't slow her down.
No. She's slowing down a little bit right now because she's getting older, so she's a little more into napping. But
so how long does it take you to do, write the story, draw the story, and get it all together in a volume?
Yeah, so drawing comics isn't easy. Obviously, mine are just in black and white, so that does take some stress off when you're drawing. But the hardest part is after you draw, scanning everything, put into the computer, fixing any problems, photoshopping, cropping, putting it together how the publisher wants it put together so that you can get it published. Which changes sometimes. You'll get something published and I'll be like, hey, guess what? We're changing our format. We're changing our paper type. So you have to change your art. Very time consuming. I think I spend probably a couple hours per page, and they're about 84 pages. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good chunk of time.
Yeah. So it takes a lot of devotion. I mentor a lot of kids who say, oh, I want to make comics. And I'm like, well, you've got to really be devoted because it's definitely time consuming.
So which publisher do you use as a indie creator?
So I use Lulu Publishing. I started using them because I could self-publish. I really liked their copyright stuff because I get to keep a lot of the profits of my book. And also they will distribute through Amazon and everything else. So you don't have to do all that, so that they'll put your book right there. And they also give me discounts if I want to buy physical copies to, take to Comic Cons and stuff. So there's a lot of different book publishers that do that online, but that was my favorite one.
Okay. Kind of speaking of Comic Cons, probably not very many happening this year.
Oh, I was so bummed out. I was so excited for Saratoga Comic Con.
Yeah.
There's so many wonderful people I really wanted to see. I had some of the kids that I mentor I was going to bring with me, but unfortunately it's postponed for right now, until November, but we'll see because we don't know.
It's crazy. So do you plan on doing any, I know a lot of indie creators do Kickstarters and stuff like that, or is it just, you're just doing the self-publishing right now?
Yeah, I've just been doing the self-publishing. Everyone keeps telling me I should do a Kickstarter and stuff, but I never considered myself an artist. So when people say, "Oh, you draw comics," I go, "I guess," because I always just considered myself a musician, and it was something I just started doing for fun. And then some of the kids that I spend time with were like, "We really love Lonely Girl. We want more Lonely Girl," and I was like, "What?" Especially Spooky Cat. He's really popular. So he's based on Luna, and I have a really good friend. He's actually my brother-in-law, who he's kind of a grouchy person. So when he says things, I take like little notes and I add it to Spooky Cat's personality.
And in, did I see correctly that in Volume 3 you're introducing a new animal character?
Yeah. So at Comic-Con in Albany, all the kids said, "Where's the dog?" Because there was a cat. And so I said, that's a brilliant idea. What could make Spooky Cat really grumpy really fast? Let's give him a sidekick. Let's give him a dog.
Right.
So I introduced Merlin because I had a new character, Gwendolyn, I wanted to introduce, and her family is kind of like medieval reenactors. So that's why the dog's named Merlin.
No, I get it. My one-eyed dog was named Odin. So, and then the dog that we adopted after Odin passed, we named her Freya. So we have
Yep, yep, yep.
we have a theme going, I guess you could say.
Yep, Luna is named Luna because I love Sailor Moon. So obviously she was named Luna after the cat.
Right.
Yeah. So
is Lonely Girl a uh like a finite series, or is it just something? Do you have like a ending in mind, or is it just
yeah,
something that, as you want to address certain topics, you can use the characters for?
yeah. So I have 4 books planned. The 4th book is already all drawn. Spooky Cat's getting his own book because all the kids love Spooky Cat. So he'll have his own book with adventures with him and Merlin. There's one that's Spooky Cat and the Perfect Valentine's Day, where he tries to find a perfect Valentine's Day present for the human he has a crush on. So kind of very silly. So there'll be fun adventures. Merlin doesn't talk, but Spooky Cat understands what Merlin says. So Merlin just barks, and Spooky Cat goes, "Oh, Merlin, you're right." So they'll have some fun
They're
adventures.
kind of like Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was like, I can't have 2 really smart talking animals.
Yeah.
So and then we'll meet some other animals from the neighborhood that they're friends with. So that's all drawn. It's just now we do the long process of the editing, the scanning. I didn't have my own scanner at first, so I used to have to go to the library and scan them all at the library, and the quality would come out different times. So so finally I just broke down and bought my own scanner. But and then I think we'll do. I've been thinking about doing Lonely Girl in college. And kind of showing her growth as going from somebody who's really insecure and kind of somber to someone who is confident and is like going after her dreams. So I can kind of see how she grew, because I think a lot of kids identify with the character of Lonely Girl being shy and awkward. But showing them that that doesn't always have to be the case, that you can still come out of your shell and find your people.
Okay. Are there any other stories? Once you finish your Lonely Girl series, are there any other stories that you feel like you'd like to tell?
Yeah, so I am working on another story that's actually in color, so that was kind of fun. It's a very silly story. It's about a monster who's called Bug Brain Pigface.
Good name for a monster.
Yeah, and it's a story about how her parents are archaeologists that found her, and they're living in the monster world because they wanted to take care of the monster. So it's got a lot of different, to me as a social worker, I always feel a story should teach something. So this is going to talk more about how everyone's equal and the importance of taking care of the planet and those kinds of things.
Sure. So are there any creators, artists, writers that you kind of influence your writing style, or
Yeah.
where you want to go with the stories, or?
Yeah. So I grew up watching Nicktoons. So obviously I'm highly influenced by like Doug, Rocco. I started drawing cartoons because of Nickelodeon. I got my first book on cartooning because of Nickelodeon. I really like Phoebe and her unicorn. It's another comic I really, really, really love. So Peanuts is a huge influence on Lonely Girl.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's the female version of Charlie Brown. um, so kind of like, ooh, no one likes me, but people really do, you know.
All right. So, where can, if people are interested in checking out your, oh, before we do that, I saw that you're, on your Facebook, since we're Facebook friends, that you're also doing some other projects. It looks like you're back into possibly back into singing, or
Yeah, so I've started recording some more music. I have a lot of friends. As a goth girl, we do a lot of goth and music. So
Mhm.
we're doing wave covers. So I'm working on Tears for Fears cover with a really good friend of mine. His music name is Sawtooth out of Boston.
Mhm.
And just meeting with other people. I'm going to do a cool cover of Only You by Yazoo from the 80s. That's going to be on the cello by my friend from the band Antidote for Annie, which is also out of
Okay.
Boston. So that's going to be really fun stuff. Just fun 80s covers. We're just going to sell it to make money for the food pantry to just,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, where can people, if they're interested in finding your stuff, where can they go to find your books?
So I do have a Facebook, which is under my name. It's So Lonely Girl creator, Rebecca Bammert. Um, and then I have an Instagram, which is Lonely Girl 1983. And all the links to buy the books are directly there. People can buy the books on Amazon. I do always tell them that you have to put in my name, Rebecca Bammert, or because there's
Mhm.
lots of books with Lonely Girl in the title. And they're mostly romance books, so that's not what you're looking for. um, and of course, my Lulu is Spotlight Rebecca Bammert, and I pop right up. So
Would you have any words of advice for somebody like yourself who has a story to tell that is interested in possibly trying to get publish their own, make their own comics to tell their
yeah,
story?
I think it's so important to tell your story because your story not only helps you, but it helps the world and it helps other people. And there's always somebody who's experiencing the same thing as your story. Like for me, I immortalized my mom in Lonely Girl. Lonely Girl's mom is a caricature of a hippie. My mom was a hippie. So it's a great way of keeping her spirit alive. And the people who loved her, like, we love your version of Maggie. It's
Yeah.
perfect. I'm like, yeah, that's my mom, right? And that's just so important to put your art out there. There's always going to be someone who loves it. So just make it.
Okay,
So,
that's good advice. I can't draw a circle, so
I can't draw either. Yeah, so I'm just lucky.
is there
Um,
anything else that have that you'd like to talk about or mention?
yeah,
That I didn't cover, or
yeah. So I grew up in the 90s. So Lonely Girl has a lot of 90s references. So if, people are, because, I'm closer to 40 than 30. If
I remember 40.
people my age share the comic with their kids, they'll laugh because they'll see stuff like Lonely Girl has Smashing Pumpkins posters and
Hmm.
Smelly Mellie wears a Rage Against the Machine t-shirt. And there'll be all these little like 90s things kind of thrown in there. So the adults can kind of have fun looking at it too.
Nice. I always enjoyed the little nods to something that may be for an older audience.
Yeah, and I think it's just nice to people reminisce about their childhood when they're with their children. So it's kind of nice to include them in the
Yep.
story.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, then thanks for taking the time to talk with us again. It was nice to catch up with you. If you ever have anything else you'd like to talk about, or whenever your next volume of Lonely Girl comes out, or the other book you're working on, then you're more than welcome to come back and we'll talk about it and help get the word out.
Thank you for having me. And there's book 3 Only girl in her Nine Inch Nails t-shirt.
Oh,
Very 90s.
I was a Nine Inch Nails person. Yeah.
Yeah, me too, as you can tell. Still.
And then for me, it all ended when Trent Reznor won an Oscar.
No, weird.
He he was a little less angry after that.
Yeah. It
I'm
happens.
just saying. I remember the what was it? The Woodstock they did back in the '90s, where he's was covered in mud and just trashing the stage. That was a good time. I wasn't there, but I saw it.
Yeah, that was fun. It was a fun video. Yeah. So again, lots of 90s references. I think in this book they go to a Depeche Mode concert too. There's reference to Green Day. There's
What do you think your most obscure reference in the book is?
So Aunt Darcy is named after Darcy from the Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay.
And she's pretty much drawn very similar to her because when I was in high school. So when I was making the cool aunt, I was like,
yeah,
I'm just gonna call Darcy. Yeah, not a lot of people know that. That's why her name used to be spelled in the first book with the little apostrophe like Darcy did from the Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay.
But I took it out because a lot of the kids were confused by it. Because they were like, why is that there? And I was like, oh, that's not really how you spell that name. But
Alrighty,
Darcy from The Good Place, the actress Darcy,
yeah.
she spells her name like Darcy from the Smashing Pumpkins as well.
Oh, okay.
She did that on purpose. The one who plays Janet. So,
oh yeah.
Kind of funny. Yeah.
That was a good show.
yes, very good show. I love that show. So, yeah.
One last question. Always the one. Are you reading anything currently that you would recommend that people check out?
I just read The Girl Who Drank the Moon. It's a young adult novel. It's been out for a while by, I think, Kelly Barnhill.
Mm-hmm.
It's a story about a girl named Luna, hence why I read it, because my kitty's named Luna. And she gets magicked by drinking moonlight as a baby. Okay. And this witch in the woods raises her. And it was not only a beautiful story, but it had a lot of themes that I think are perfect for young adults, like, feeling uncomfortable in your own skin, having to deal with the first time you lose someone you love, and adventure and joy and following your dreams. And I read it in one day. I thought it was a great book. So, because I read a lot of young adult, because I write young adult. So
yeah, true. Well, I think that's again ending the conversation for the fifth time.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. It's all me. Wouldn't be an interview by me without it being awkward. So, but again, thank you for thanks for taking the time, and I'll definitely let you know when this goes out, and yeah, you're welcome back anytime.
All right, thank you so much, and you have a great night.
All right, you too.
All right. Bye.
Later.